stand about right here.
All right.
Move a couple feet back and forth.
Back and forth. All right. Sounds good. Well, my name is George Martinez. I'm running for city council. I don't know which place actually. One of those places in the city council. I think it's place 6 in Crandall, in the city of Crandall. We've been in the United States for 15 years. We came to the U.S., my wife and I, and a 2-year-old 15 years ago with 2 bags of clothes, $5,000, and a work visa sponsored by Forney ISD to teach math and science. I have a background in engineering. So eventually we became citizens. Yay for that. Thank you.
Yay. Welcome.
And, thank you. In 2014, we started our own company. Since I like construction, we started doing construction. And we turned literally a toolbox into $1 million enterprise. And we recently opened 2 more companies. We started kind of diversifying a little, rentals, machinery, and then just exclusively landscaping for the business. Me, I am unapologetically, that word is kind of tricky.
Kind of like unanimously.
Conservative, okay? I am a Christian. I am pro-Second Amendment. I am pro-America First. I didn't bring my Trump hat today, but I wear it all the time. Probably deplorable. So, oh yeah.
I got one. He's hard.
And he did win. I mean, there's plenty of evidence for that. But anyways, why do I want to run? Because our country, our way of life, our democracy is under attack. And we need people there at the local level, at the state level, and the federal level, actually fighting back. There is this tiny segment of society. It's about 7%, you know, the GLGBT, blah, blah, blah. Okay? I don't know how many letters they put on it. They can't even get to an agreement on what they want. And all this political correctness is killing us. We need people to actually make a stand, just simply for the truth. No matter how many times you tell a lie, it will not become the truth. Facts are facts, nature is nature.
Amen.
Okay, the truth is the truth. And telling people half the truth is not true transparency, it's called populism. That's what it is, because you're just telling them what they want to hear. We need people, like I say, to make a stand, to work for the city, to make progress, and to make sure that we don't have drag queens reading to our 6-year-olds, telling them why they should choose their own gender. A 6-year-old cannot choose pretty much anything.
That's right.
Much less their own gender. So,
That's right.
I'm a businessman. I'm good at planning. I'm a quality engineer. I based my company on 2 principles. Quality, which to me is super important. We are really good at what we do. I promised myself I would not be just Johnny's Construction. We're our ratings, we're a 5-star rated company, HUB certified by the state, A+ with the Better Business Bureau. We would not just be just a fly-by-night company. And the second real important pillar of my business is integrity, and not just for my business. I think those 2 things go hand in hand in everything we do. If you have integrity in what you do, okay, things will turn out the way they should. So that's my point.
Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything specific with the city council, that's what you want to break?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything specific that they've been doing that you were against? Or that's why you would be running?
You can answer it.
Yeah, not necessarily against. I am against the lack of transparency of one of the members. Yes, because she is really just playing people by telling on Facebook what they want to hear. I don't think that's correct. You're literally just playing people, okay? Sometimes, I serve in the Planning and Zoning Committee in Crandall. So before anything gets, development-wise goes to the city council, it comes through us. And I've seen a bunch of projects come through us, and we don't specifically like what they're proposing. We turn it down, we send them back. They come back with whatever changes we are requesting. And at some point, we can go back and forth many times, but at some point, the city has to approve the project. I mean, once they are compliant with everything and with the use of land and rules and regulations, you have to approve it. Or then you have a lawsuit coming, and then you'll be spending taxpayers' money on the lawsuit because you just didn't approve the project. Some folks think that in the city council, they just push developments and just bring progress without any thought to it. Well, there's a lot more than that really going on. We cannot stop progress. We cannot stop development. We cannot tell an individual, no, you cannot sell your land or you cannot develop your land. It is your right, period. So I'm really not running against anything they're doing. I just want to contribute to bring better developments to the area, okay? Investments that can bring actually better paying jobs, so people don't have to go all the way to Dallas and commute and all that, and just develop the right kind of city. We definitely don't want to be, I'm not going to mention any names of cities, but we don't want to be, we don't want to be some of those cities.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
I got this one. How long have you been on the planning and zoning?
Almost a year. Yes, sir. Recently.
And you've been in Crandall for how long?
2014. I'm a Kaufman resident for the past 15 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. I know this probably has more to do with the school board than it does with the city council and stuff, but, with all of that development that's coming in, I live in Combine.
Okay.
Okay, the traffic along 175 is atrocious. Everything in and out of there, going through Parkland and up here and all around everywhere is just atrocious. It's like trying to get into Dallas. But, I wanted to know, I wanted to ask a question. There are so many developing areas that are coming in, bringing so many houses. Do you have any idea how the council or the school boards are going to manage that many students coming in and the transportation to go? Because they all go, all Combine goes to Crandall. And now Singleville from Kaufman Street is gonna go to Crandall. All of Heartland, going from 741 over to 148 is going to Crandall.
Yep.
All going from 741 back the other way, where 740 is going to Crandall. How are we going to handle that as people with that many people going to that one small
Right.
school that we have with no more land left to build any more school?
Can you keep the answer short?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just needed to ask that. I didn't know it was Crandall, or I already asked that.
Well,
So,
the cities cannot really touch any. There's jurisdiction issues. We cannot touch 741. We cannot touch 175. We cannot. I mean, it'd be nice to just make them wider. What we need to do is to craft the best possible deal with the developers. So within their master plan, they include school zones, an area for schools, wider roads, like it's happening in Crandall. We negotiated the Eagle Crest Parkway, so which is going to be leading out to 741. Now it's TxDOT who needs to widen up 741 all the way up to Forney, and it will happen. It's already been approved.
okay.
So yeah, something going on.
All right.
Any
Thank you
other
so much.
questions maybe you can ask after?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
We're gonna give him 5 minutes from that time.
5 minutes total, but that means, are we 4 minutes talking and then 1 minute question?
I keep it short. Free tacos. No, I'm just kidding. My name's Nate Dettmer. I'm running for City Council Place 6 in the city of Forney. I moved to Forney in 2002. I met my wife. We got married in 2003. I've been here for a little over 20 years now, celebrating my 20th anniversary this May. We have a daughter who is, thank you. We have a daughter who is 9 in Forney ISD. We're very excited to be there. They've done wonderful with her. We've had some special needs there and such. So I love this town. It's very simple and plain. I love this town. I've been here the most of my entire life here in Forney. And I have chosen to run because I want to serve my community. I grew up in church with my family. We moved here from the north. Don't kill me, I'm a Yankee. But I've been here since 4.5. So we grew up here in church. My parents taught me the attitude of servitude. I always served in my church. I learned and grew through that in Boy Scouts as I became an Eagle Scout. And I've continued to serve our city in various different boards, committees, nonprofits that I continue to serve year after year. Currently I'm serving on the Parks Board. This is my second time on the Parks Board. I've been there about 3, almost 4 years now, and I continue to serve. I felt at this time God called me to step up and take the step to be on council. I also felt like council needed some strong leadership. It's been lacking, and I want to step up. And for those of you that may know me on social media or may not know me, I am about as transparent as you can possibly get. Sometimes that's not the thing that you want to hear when you ask me a question, because I'll tell you the straight answer even if we don't agree. But I also understand we can agree to disagree and still be friends and have a beer. So I want to be transparent with everybody. I want to try to find things that can help improve our city without raising taxes. I think that's been lacking in what our city has been developing. Things like bringing in one of my ideas that I put out on social media recently was a food truck park here in downtown Forney. It's a way that we can spend a little bit of investment up front as a city using CIP funds that ultimately can turn dividends down the road for the city year after year, and it doesn't raise any taxes for citizens. There's many more ideas I have like this. That's just one of them. But I hope that you see, as you ask me questions and I answer, even if we don't agree, that I have a passion for this city and a passion for serving. I want to improve this city and move us forward. I'm tired of the back and forth fighting between everyone. So
Any
that's
questions?
it.
Say again your position, your name,
City Council, Place 6. My name is Nate Dettmer. Mr.
I have
Rosenberg.
a question. Since you've been on other boards, are you considered to be a part of the old regime in the city or the new regime?
I'm not on either side. I'm not.
What you're saying, but on your website, you're putting out a lot of negative comment.
What website am I putting out? Because all I put out is when I'm running for City Council. Please give me an example.
Well, my wife's the one that's extremely more to that than I am, but I
Okay.
wanted to ask you, as far as food trucks go, you think that'll hurt the restaurants that are ordering in the city?
They're already here. The food trucks are already here. They're all around our city, and we're not collecting tax dollars because our city councils previously have kept them out by the codes enforcements. We'll have to agree to disagree. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Nate.
I was just fixing to ask everybody,
I'm just trying to help a brother out.
hat on or hat off? So Marty's already thrown down the gauntlet, so the hat's gonna stay on. So, I like the hat too, I've been wearing it. I haven't seen you in a while. My name is Mike Thomas. I am running for Mayor of Forney. I have been in Forney for 38 years. Many of you in this room, I know, many of y'all know me. I own Fortie's Barbecue here in town, and I told someone tonight, I will probably be the most accessible mayor since Don Cates.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not saying I'm going to be Don Cates, I said accessible. Don Cates was a lawyer in town. You could walk into his office and talk to him if you could get past his daughter, Margaret. She was the gatekeeper. 11 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday. You know where to come find me. You got a problem, you come talk to me. We will discuss it. But during my time here, I've been on the city council back in the early 90s. I was also on the council back in 2019, 2020. I did resign my seat at the city council because I'm gonna be honest with you, COVID was eating my business alive. I run a restaurant. Y'all all know what restaurants was doing. Every day, there was another regulation that we had to deal with. Every day, there was another supply chain issue. I was literally going, at the end of the day, I was having to drive somewhere to get supplies, just so I could keep my business going. So yes, I did resign from the city council in 2020. And I think most people in this room understand why I did that. It was my family and my livelihood that I had to take care of. But while I've been here, I've been on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I formed the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, back in the early 90s. I've been a member of the Forney Home Rule Charter Committee twice. I know the Home Rule Charter backwards and forwards. I've got 2 beautiful daughters, 4 beautiful grandkids, and 1 on the way. And my kids grew up here. So I am invested in Forney. I've been invested in Forney for a long, long time. I was part of the antique business that we used to have in town. Many of y'all remember the antique business. Well, we ran out of antiques, so we don't have antiques anymore. But now we have
That
what's
means you're a
called...
bunch of good salesmen, you sold them all.
Do what?
That means you're a bunch of good salesmen, you sold it.
I sold them all. Well, we ran out. Now we have what we call mid-city modern. But I'm running for city council also, like Nate. I believe that our current council's lost its way. They were doing some things that I thought was very questionable. Some of the actions that they were going to do, they were going to close down our crossings downtown. They was going to virtually shut our town down by closing down those railroad crossings. They tried to pass some things that, like the bond. The bond was going to increase your taxes 83%. Did everybody in this room just get your appraisals? I know I got mine. Did y'all's go up? Mine went up. Imagine what that 83% increase in your taxes for those bonds would have done to your right now. And a lot of y'all in here, your taxes are frozen. I understand that. I'm 2 years away from that, man. My taxes won't get frozen. But imagine our young kids, our young families that are growing up, and the burden that that's going to start putting on them. It's going to be tough. So I feel like that we needed some new leadership at City Hall. Like this gentleman right here, this gentleman said it the best. Truth is truth, and a lie is a lie. And a half of truth is, what'd you say, progressive? Populism. Populism. I'm as transparent as you can be, and I will tell you the truth. And one thing that I do not do is I do not support defunding public safety. As I'm sure all of y'all in this room do not support defunding public safety. When I was on the city council, I voted in the 2019 budget. We raised the budget for police department over 7%. We raised the budget for the fire department over 6%. We added a new officer in the police department. 1 minute, okay. So I've got to wind this down there. I've been given the 1 minute signal. But I support public safety. And for anybody to say that I don't is not telling the truth. They're not even telling the half of truth. They're not telling the truth, period. But there is a circular going around town right now. And in that circular, let me read it to you. Let me read it to you what it says. It says that the person who's running against me supports safer neighborhoods for 20 families, and they say that they are a clear difference compared to my opponent who has announced a plan to defund first responders. That's the circular that's going around town right now. That was published by my opponent who's here tonight. And so I'm going to challenge him, if he could, to explain what my plan to defund the police department is, because apparently he has my plan, because he's the one that said I was going to do it in this circular. A lot of you guys know me, and you know that's not the truth. Thank you.
Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, since you were on all these boards that you told you were on, I don't know you very well, are you considered to be part of the old regime that has gotten us where we are here today? And I'd like to know if you could ever post anything that you ever put out when you first ran for campaign about defunding the police.
No, sir, I have never put out anything about defunding the police. And I stood right here in front of all these witnesses and said I will not defund the police. Now, are you going to say am I a part of the group that got us where we are today? You bet I'm going to say I'm a part of that group, because I've been here 38 years, sir. I've been involved in in the city of Forney for 38 years. I'm the one that brought you the EDC that gives you the ½ cent reduction in property taxes, okay? So when the city collects that ½ cent, they take that off of your property tax, sir. I'm the one who formed the EDC and got that started. I'm also the one who worked with the EDC. We got Walmart in. You may not like Walmart, but I like going to Walmart. I don't like having to drive out of town to get Walmart. Because when I moved here, sir, you could not even buy a pair of socks. A man could not even buy a pair of socks in this town, but you can now.
So the EDC, the Economic Development of the City,
And I apologize if I seem animated, but this stuff I am so passionate about. Then it comes out.
Politics can be a fight business.
It very well can.
Are you MAGA?
Am I what?
Are you MAGA?
Dang right.
Trump?
Yes, ma'am. Vote
Okay.
for him twice.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. How's everybody doing? Good. Good. First of all, thank you all for putting this on. One of the first things I did when I decided to run for mayor
State your
was,
name.
I am Jason Roberson, and I'm running for mayor of Forney, Texas, one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. And when I decided to run for mayor, one of the first things I did was go and reach out to clergy, ministers who were well respected. I sat in Marty's office and he grilled me. We had a good conversation for about 45 minutes or so. And he encouraged me to lead with my faith. I'm a son of a preacher, so I grew up in a fishbowl. I'm always used to being watched, and you always have to be on your best behavior and watch your P's and Q's and so forth. But in politics, you don't have to hide your faith. And so Marty encouraged me to be who I am, because the world needs more Christian leaders. And we can't be afraid of our faith. And so with that, I've taken that to heart, and I hope to be that kind of leader. My wife and I, we've been married for 21 years. We celebrate our anniversary on April the 6th. We have 2 children, a 15-year-old son, James, and we have a 13-year-old daughter who's going on 26. If anybody has any advice, let me know. I need it. Running for Forney because I want to keep us safe. My wife and I, we came here with one income, just lots of hopes and dreams and so forth. And we needed a safe place to live, something that we could afford on our humble budget. And we needed an opportunity just to grow our family. And we found Forney was that place. I'm happy to be here. And I want to continue to make Forney a great place for people. I could talk on and on. I'm the son of a preacher, so I have no problems filling up space. But I do want to open it up for questions. Now, I will address the comment that my opponent made. First of all, I really respect him. I think he's a good man. But the questionnaire that we filled out, there are responses in it that the police officer said feels like he is trying to defund the police. I read the question, and they interpreted it for me, and they said, this looks like language of defunding the police. I have my questionnaire that I completed, and I'm happy to share that with anybody who wants to see it. I believe that we cannot have a toxic relationship with our police officers. Right now, we are short 15 officers. As fast as we're growing 15 officers, that is not possible for us to be safe when you're short that many officers. So we have to be able to hire more, and we have to have a good relationship with our officers so that we can continue to make Forney a safe place to live. With that, I will open it up for questions. Bring it on, I'm ready.
Jason,
Yes.
Can I ask a question here? You said that
Are you going to interrupt Katrina?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not a question, it's a comment, and this is based on my experience I'm now on the school board, so I'm seeing some things that are internally. One thing that I will say, regardless of who's leading our state, or regardless of who's leading our school district, when it comes to public safety, we need to work together and we need a better plan. These agencies are not working together the way that they should, and our our children are part of the community. They're parts that don't have a voice, so we have to be their voice. We also have an odd situation where, maybe it's not so odd, but some of our schools are inside city limits and others are
Right.
outside city limits. Where I'm seeing a struggle right now is specifically in our outside city limits, school campuses, and making sure that all of our agencies have the right access to our children should a safety issue come about. And we also need a proactive approach to having our officers in front of those children as mentors. So I'm very hopeful that whoever is leading from a city perspective, that you're ready to blur the lines
Yes.
across what's in city limits and what's outside of city limits, because these are our kids. So I just want you guys to know that that's a priority.
And if I could just address that,
Hang on,
I just-
are you running for something tonight?
I am not. I'm actually on the school board.
I just wanted
Let's
to,
just start the question time all over again.
okay, yeah, can I just address what?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's up to you. You
Yeah.
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I just want to address what you said. We have to be good partners with our school district. With more officers, we'll be able to station our police officers near those campuses. Look, Forney ISD already has a police force, and we have law enforcement that are protecting our children. But we need to have Forney Police Department be active participants. They need to be better supporters of our other law enforcement that are there to protect our students. When I leave, when my kids leave in the morning, I am so vulnerable. I pray for them. That's one thing that I can't go to school with them, and I pray that I be able to see them when they come back home at night. When I see those images of horrific things that happen, that is probably one of my worst fears. And so I agree with you that we have to be good supporters. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Ask my question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You said that my question said the police officers interpreted that I would be defunding the police department by my answer. Here was the question. The question was, do you support or oppose efforts to defund law enforcement and public safety? That's the question that the police association asked. Then let me make clear, this is not the police department, this is the police association. And my answer was, as I stated in a recent video I released on social media, I will make sure our police have sufficient funds, equipment, and personnel they need to effectively do their job. How can anyone interpret that I am going to defund the police by that answer?
I think what you will have to do then is talk to the police officers.
They won't talk to me.
They won't talk to you. That's
No, sir.
interesting. That's interesting.
Reach out
How
to-
is it that you're going to lead with such a toxic environment?
30 seconds.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Were you not endorsed by the fire and police department?
Yes, yes.
Probably ought to move on. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Hey, there's one more question in the back. Lori, there was one more question in the back. The guy in the blue shirt.
Reg,
Well,
he's gonna let you ask.
Yeah.
Marty said you can
Yeah.
ask.
Yes, sir.
As we all know, the difference between Democrats and Republicans is Democrats ask, does it feel good? Republicans ask, does it do good? So it doesn't matter the feeling you get when you see these answers, doesn't matter which candidate it is. Well, let me ask you this on that questionnaire. There's a question, it's a yes or no. And it talks about whether you will slander your opponent or whether you will run a positive campaign on the issues. And my neighbors got that mailer. It is slander. Why did you lie on that question?
I didn't lie.
You did.
I did not.
You slandered Mr. Thomas.
I told truth.
No, you didn't.
okay.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Erika Price. I saw many of you last year, and yes, it is my second time running for Forney ISD School Board because last year I came up about 170 votes short. But I came to Forney about 11 years ago in August from Don't Hate Me, California. And
Your time's done.
my family reminds me that when I first moved out here, we bought a home as an investment. in Windmill Farms when there was supposed to be a golf course 16 years ago. And people would say, how did you ever get into that neighborhood? But we ended up moving into that home after I lost my job and then my husband lost his. And California had an unemployment rate of 11%. And we had a very expensive home that cost 4 times what our beautiful home here in Forney cost. And so we decided, let's do a pros and cons list. And we evaluated why it would make sense to move to Forney. And I tell you, ever since I've been here, I've never looked back. My oldest celebrated her 5th birthday here, and she's now a freshman at Forney High School. My youngest came when he was basically learning to walk, and now he's in 6th grade. I've homeschooled him for the last 2 years, 5th and 6th grade. I homeschooled my daughter for 5th grade as well, but my son will be going into Forney Public Schools again at Warren Middle School in the fall. And I feel really comfortable with that, especially having seen how my daughter went through Warren Middle School, and I have a great connection with the staff and administration there. But my thing is, I always want to be open and receptive to whatever it is that God has for me to do. And so a lot of the times I can get stressed out by you look around and you see there's so many issues in society, right? And during the pandemic, what God told me to do is focus on the things that you can help in. And so just in really figuring out, I've had a passion for education. People ask me all the time, are you a teacher? No, not really. I just am a natural teacher. I believe in being lifelong learners, so I've always promoted that and always been that kind of person. And so when I looked around and learned about how the school board is run, I saw that there was a need for representing the newer people who have come into Forney. There's been quite a few years just where no one has stepped up to run for school board. And so I saw that that was a need. And I also lived on the north side of town, and I live on the south side of town, and I have a heart for human beings. And so it doesn't matter to me if they live in Windmill Farms or Greyhawk. I don't care how much money someone makes. To me, it's important that all of our children have the opportunity to have the best education possible, because when we have educated children, that's going to create a better society for our future. So I got the motion, so any questions? Oh, I do want to tell you, if you have like in-depth questions, I did respond and do all the questions for the iVoter guide.
Thank you.
They're all there. You're welcome.
And she's the only one that got a leaning conservative view in Forney, so thank you.
Yes, sir.
Being on the school board, trying to be on the school board, assuming you get elected to it, what is your stance going to be if some of these outside groups start coming into your Forney school district and they want to start putting the pornographic stuff for kids in the libraries and the schools? Where are you going to stand on that issue?
That would not be acceptable.
Just one question, yes or no? Do you support CRT?
No. And that's been on my website since last year.
Back to what Robert asked about the inappropriate material in libraries. Do you know if Forney Schools has inappropriate material? I'm told they do have it already.
Okay.
So that was gonna be my question. Is one of your priorities gonna be to do an audit of the school libraries?
That wouldn't be one of my priorities, honestly. I do have a concern if things come up. I'm very open to the people coming and presenting things, right? I am very about parent involvement and parents having a say in what their kids are being taught. But there are a lot of issues in Forney ISD. I do work a full-time job, and so some things, if they come to me, you'll know that my response is my response that's in the iVoter guide.
So if someone presented some books that they thought that were inappropriate, would you make an effort to do something about it?
Sure. I'm one, just so you know how school board works, it is a 7-person panel. Okay, so I have a vote. Sure.
That's time.
What's that?
That's time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
my name is Townsend. I'm running for place 1 for the Kaufman Board of Trustees. I guess I've been in Kaufman all my life. I went to, well, even daycare. I started in Kaufman. My family actually purchased the land that we lived on back in World War II. I go back 4 generations in Kaufman. I currently run, after graduation, I went to UTA. I got my bachelor's in real estate, and then I got my MBA with a concentration in finance. I worked in commercial real estate for a while, and then I guess about 9 years ago is when I moved back to, my grandmother had started a real estate company, LC Auto Real Estate, here in 1988. And I moved back because honestly, I wanted to move back to the country and out of the city and not have to go into Dallas and be able to take my kids to school. And, you know, I love this community, I love this town. I chose to run, I'm involved in a number of different things. I am been a precinct chair for the last 3 years. I'm currently the vice chair of the Kaufman Republican Party. I'm involved in Lions Club, PTA. I coach soccer, t-ball, so again, I love the community. My biggest thing and why I was called to run is I think the school board needs a numbers person, you know, somebody that really, if you look at, everybody talks about property tax, I'm in real estate and so I see it. You know, people look, your taxes weren't raised when those appraisal values came out. They're gonna be raised in August, September, when your school board goes to set their budget. And so that's really the reason why we need to be electing and looking at, you know, fiscal conservatives, you know, to be on the school board, because that is why, that's honestly why property taxes are going so, up so fast. And you'll hear that, well, we lowered the tax rate. Well, of course you did. The property values are going up so much. So, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, I'm led to be on as a fiscal conservative is really looking at, I mean, I'm used to a budget. We all have to live within our budget. You know, there's things that I would love to do as far as advertising and that, but I have to look at, okay, what's my return, you know, on this? And maybe we can't, you know, do this. And I really think the school board member has got to be able, again, like she said, I'm just one of 7, but, you know, to put that idea, to push these things that, hey, we're supposed to be stewards of the taxpayer's dollar. And that means every single cent we need to be looking at, going over and saying, you know, hey, if the taxpayers were to be able to vote on this, would they be okay with this expenditure or lack of expenditure or not planning and so forth? So I'll go ahead and cut it off and answer any questions.
No question. I don't know where it came from or whatever, but you know, I've been in Forney in Kaufman County. My family has since 1855, and I place a lot of emphasis on history here. You know, I'm part of that history, and my family is. Did you support taking down the Confederate statues in Kaufman County?
Do I support taking down? I did not think it should be in front of the courthouse, no.
Okay.
Any other questions for Casey?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
No, I just be careful. Hi, I'm Lori Crow, and as you can tell, some of the people in this room know me well. I was born and raised in Kaufman County. I was born in Terrell, raised in Elmo, and now live in Kaufman, so I didn't get very far. I am the owner and clinical director of Access to Recovery in Terrell. I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor. My marketing tagline is we wrestle drunks and specialize in cantankerous knuckleheads, and most of us will all fit into that category. I work with folks on probation and CPS that want to sober up, change their life, and rearrange their cognitive behavioral thinking. I am running, want to run for the school board. I have three grandchildren in Kaufman Junior High, and when my grandson Ransom came home, and he said, Gammy, if you worked at the school, they wouldn't treat us the way they do. And 2 of those things were that they were screaming at the kids to shut up, and we have several teachers over there that were telling the kids they were pissing them off. I teach my grandchildren emotional intelligence. Nobody can make me happy, sad, glad, or mad. And so we talk about that, and so it irritates me that my grandchildren are smarter than some of the people that lack emotional intelligence. I'm very outspoken, I'm very opinionated, and that's just how I am. Now, so certainly, we've had a lot of violence at the junior high. I think certainly that we need to look at that. I know that we have a school police force over there. However, when my granddaughter got pushed and knocked the breath out of her, they tried to keep us from filing charges against the young man that they weren't going to punish. And I had to explain to them that I believe in Section 9 of the Penal Code, which says in the state of Texas, I have a right to protect myself with equal or greater force. And so now I'm an irritated grandmother. I want to be appropriate. I want to be fair. I want to find solution, because I believe that if we have a problem, we must find a solution, and we must do that in an appropriate way. And I certainly believe that everything that the school does should be about, is it best for the children? And if it's not good for the children and the students, then we need to rethink that, because that's, I believe, the reason why they're there, and the children are our future. And I'm just so old and cantankerous. I'm just gonna like full tilt ball boogie, kahunas to the wall. I just want to contribute, and I'm a late bloomer to the political arena, but whatever I can do to change the world for my grandkids, so they don't have to live in the world that I see that it's going. So anyway, and then I'm glad to know about all of you people here in this little room, the GOP club. And I told Ann I would like to be a part of this group, so you'll see me again. So anyway.
Back to the inappropriate school books in the library, or do you know if Kaufman?
I do not know, and that was on my, I always have a little note card with me. They will not let my grandchildren bring their books home so I can see what they're learning. And so I don't know what they've got and what they're doing, but I believe that sexual orientation and transgender and all that other mess has no place in our school. And I feel like that's another reason that I would like to see some audits done in the libraries and just make sure we're not teaching CRT. I do know that somewhere we've got 3 people in Kaufman ISD, and they're called inclusion officers. I don't know what that is, but I'm interested in knowing that, because I believe that diversity and the equity and the inclusion have no business anywhere in our country, and so I feel like that has no place in our schools.
Well, and just so all school board candidates in particular, I mean, we have programs here, and they have very graphic material that are in these books. It should never, I mean, it would make a grown person.
But pornography has no place in our schools. So, anyway.
And it's not all called CRT either. They've named it inclusion and all these other.
Doesn't really matter what you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You just got to figure out what the little pigs are, right? So I certainly think that that's certainly the case. Yes, ma'am.
I like her country wit.
Any other questions for Lori?
With your background in controlled substances, what are your thoughts on naloxone in our schools and providing education to our teachers?
I can't hear you for that little thing.
I said, with your background with controlled substances, what are your thoughts on training educators in schools for use of naloxone?
Well, I certainly think that is something that we're going to have to do in this society. I think it's, crazy that we're here, because, we should be taking care of the border and not having that problem at all. But realistically, we're going to have to do that, I do believe, because we have so many students that are selling drugs for their parents and bringing that into the schools, and we have different elements, but we're going to have to, each of us are going to have to educate ourselves so we can save our children.
Good. Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much.